thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a really cool new tool that I just got, and I've had a chance to use this thing, and I just want to show it to you and let you know how awesome this is. I've seen some of these things on online, and they looked really cool, and I was really excited when I found out I was going to get one, and that is CAPRI Tools right there. Look at how pretty that is. That just looks awesome. And then you turn it to the side and you think, what the heck is that thing? So if you look at it from here, I mean, look at that. That is a weird looking impact, right? All right, it's beautiful. I love the blue. I love CAPRI Tools. I love the blue on their tools. I don't really care about colors. I don't buy tools for colors. I know guys that'll buy certain ratchets and stuff, you know, certain colors. I don't. Whatever's available is what I get. But anyways, so this is a 1/2-inch drive flex head impact wrench. Now, this thing, it rotates 120 degrees. So here we are here. So let's say you're trying to get in somewhere and you just only have this much. Let's see what the length is here. So just here, we're at 5 inches, I think. So look at that. If you only had 5 inches of space to get into, you could put this up in, or actually even less this way. If you were trying to go straight up, and you're trying to get up somewhere that's up this far, and you only have like this much room and you can't get a gun, well, when you add extensions and things like that, you lose torque. And so anytime you change from an extension to an adapter to a socket, it doesn't matter. You lose torque. And if you're trying to take off something that's really hard to get off, you need all the torque you can get. So I learned that a long time ago. I was compressing a strut, or I was taking a strut off, and I had my 3/8 gun, and I didn't have any 3/8 impact. No, I have a 1/2-inch gun. And I didn't have any 1/2-inch wobble sockets at the time. So I had a wobble adapter and a socket. And I was trying to take the nut off of the strut while it was in the strut compressor. And it wouldn't come off. So my neighbor came over and he says, here, and he threw me a socket. And it was an impact wobble socket. And I put it on there and the nut came right off. So anyways, so torque. You lose torque when you change. So with this right here, you can come right up through. I mean, look at that. I mean, just looking at sideways, you can come all the way up inside there. You can come up pretty far. If you're in a front end, you're trying to take off, you know, some sort of front end component, a steering component, or ball joints, or anything like that where you just can't get to it, you can come up through it this way, or you can turn it over and come in this way. So by looking at this, you think, okay, well, let's put a socket on there. So I have 2 sockets here, same size, 36 and 35, but they're the same depth. So we're gonna put it on there. Now previously, the only short gun I had was my monster gun. And now this gun, it works great. It takes off balancers, off Toyotas and Subarus, and that's only 2 off the top of my head, but many manufacturers, without taking the radiator out, pull the fans out, and then this will slide right in there. Now, if you had the 1/2-inch nano sockets, it would be even less. I don't have those. I have the stubby 3/8 sockets, but I don't have the 1/2. So this is all I got. And I believe that if I had a nano socket, it would only come to here probably. So I mean, imagine how much smaller it is. But see, you take this and look at the difference there. I mean, look at that. Same size sockets and everything. Look at the difference in space where you can get into with that one. So now we can go in, and yesterday I was doing the timing belt, and I just wanted to see what would happen. And so I checked it out with this. This took the balancer bolt off and put it back on. And then just to check, because you don't ever know what kind of torque something has. Numbers, everybody has a number for their torque specs, but are they true? So I thought, you know what, let me try it. So I used this and I took the balancer bolt off, showed it on Instagram, showing that it took the balancer bolt off, and then I put the balancer bolt back on. And then just to see what would happen, I used this and I hit it again to see if it would turn. It did not turn the bolt at all, telling me that this gun put the balancer bolt on just as tight as my big half-inch snap-on gun. So now that we know this will take off balancers, let's talk about ways that you could use this with not just a socket. So let's say you're trying to take off a ball joint and you can't get in there. And you know, this is kind of a weird angle, right, to get into the ball joint, but a lot of times you can snake this up and get it in there, but it's not going to be the right angle. So how can we make that work? Aha, an impact wobble socket. So now let's put this on here, and now let's look what we can do. Now we can get in here all kinds of ways. We could turn this a little bit and turn that. Look at that. That's taking a ball joint off right there. So that alone, and then up here, you ever have a steering component that the nut is upwards and you can't get it off? Well, there you go. Throw a socket on there, slip this up and over the steering component, and then it's coming off. So that right there is what you need. This thing has 400 foot-pounds of torque. So 400 foot-pounds of torque, 120-degree rotation, and what else? Oh, and it's quiet. It's a quiet gun. I love this gun. CAPRI Tools, thank you very much. They also have a 3/8 drive. I just figured the half-inch would suit me better. Now, when I talk about using one gun and putting something on and then checking it with the next gun, let me give you an example. So, this is my 3/8 Matco gun I've had for 16 or 17 years. I've had this gun forever. Doesn't have any markings on here. And all of a sudden when I would plug in an air hose, the trigger, it would just start spinning and I couldn't stop it. It wouldn't change or anything. And so I pulled this out and looked, and there was an O-ring at the end that was bad. I tried to put an O-ring in there, I couldn't fix it. I thought, dang, I went to Matco and, you know, she checked and so, oh, we don't make that gun anymore, we can't do anything. And so I called a local air tool place, and they don't service Matco tools because Matco tools, they don't make their tools, and because the parts are hard to get is what the guy told me. So they don't touch them at all. No Matco air tools. And so I'm like, damn, you know, what am I gonna do? This sucks. 3/8 gun, I use it all the time. Front end work, I use it all the time. So I bought this gun. 3/8 drive, stubby, compact, Ingersoll Rand. Quiet gun. I thought, you know what? Let me just at least get a quiet one. I mean, look at that. Same kind of difference between the flex head, you know, impact and my monster gun, right? But here's the thing. So remember we talked about torque specs. Well, I don't really believe it, you know, because torque specs can be lied about, right? They can say whatever they want. So I was doing a Sprinter and I was putting the axle in. It's got 6 or 8 bolts that bolt the axle in, right? So I use this gun, zap all the bolts in, and I thought, you know what? I want to see how powerful this gun is. And so then, after I put it in, I got this gun out, put the same socket on there, and I turned the bolt probably about this much. It turned more, indicating that this gun is more powerful than this Ingersoll Rand gun. So that happened, and that's what I'm talking about comparing torques, comparing torque and everything else. Now, while we're talking about balancers, let me tell you something that's important that I never knew for a long time. So we all know Hondas and Toyotas. Hondas especially, but Toyotas, their balancers can be really, really hard to get off. And in the past, I've had to get a chain tool and put it on the balancer, and you know, get a jack stand and a big pipe and to break it loose, right? Can't get it off. So when I bought this snap-on gun a long time ago, the snap-on guy sold this as the Honda Balancer Killer. And when I first got it off, it took off the first few balancers, no problem. And then I noticed that it wasn't taking off balancers all the time. And anyways, fast forward a couple years, I had a snap-on guy and I was like, hey man, you know, you guys sold me this gun telling me it was the Honda Balancer Killer, but it doesn't take off most balancers. And he's like, oh, what you need is these. So these are weighted sockets. So these are snap-on, And here's the problem. It's 3/4 drive. So I had to buy a 3/4 to half adapter for my 1/2-inch gun. And then you put that in, so you lose some torque there. So I have a 19, it's 3/4 and 22. So the 3/4 works for Honda's 19mm and the 22 for Toyota. Now, these are designed for really, I don't know if they're designed for balancers, but that's what they work perfect for. Well, since I bought these and later on down the road, fast forward to years later, now I see other companies that are making these and they're 1/2-inch drive. So you don't lose that torque, that 1/2-inch to 3/4 torque. But with these, I haven't had a balancer that wouldn't take off. It might just take a minute to get it off. So if you do a lot of timing belts or balancers, Toyotas, Hondas, whatever, these are what you need right here. You don't need the Honda balancer tool to hold it and all that crap. You just need some bladed sockets. They'll take those balancers off and you'll get it done. So that is my recommendation for the gun that you need right here. This is going to get it done, and I'm really excited to do some front end work with this thing. I really think it's going to get in there, and steering components and ball joints and things like that, this is going to get in there. Also, anything in the front, you know, if you have a bolt in the front that's really, really hard to get out, this one here is going to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't seen one of these guns, I strongly recommend that you look into getting one. My neighbor, it was funny because one day he told me, he's like, oh man, I bought a flex head impact from MAYHEW and it won't be here for like a few weeks. The next day I came in with this and I was like, dude, this is like built, you know, it's Capri, and you know, you bought yours from MAYHEW. MAYHEW doesn't even make it, and I bet it's more expensive. I think he was going to pay $300 or $400 for it. So after he saw this, he told her to take it back, and he's going to get one of these because it's a lot cheaper. And besides, MAYHEW doesn't even make their air tools, so there you go. Anyways, check it out, Capri Tools. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell. You get notified of all my future content, which you're definitely going to want to see. Also, check me out on Instagram at Nuts and Bolts with Tone for my daily life as a mechanic, and my merchandise store is open. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. All right, here we go, doing sway bar end links on this RAV4. One use for this Capri swivel head, flex head impact is right here. I can get to it that way. Also, I could take these off without even taking the wheels off with a shallow socket.